Alright, today's palette is going to be Burnt Umber, Titanium White, Ultramarine Blue, Cobalt Blue, Lemon Yellow, Cad Yellow, Quinacridone Red, and Cad Red. And this product I haven't tried before, the Winsor Newton Liquin Impasto. I'll be experimenting with that today. And that's right over there to mix into the paint as I go along.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be applying color over this value painting that I did in some videos ago. And the title of this video, the original, is called Plein Air, a Technique for Accurate Proportions. So if you want to check that out beforehand. Now what I'm doing in this piece, of course, is applying the color. And with the value painting, what's nice is all you have to do is mix up the color. And you can see here I'm testing it against the sky and I squint a little bit, and that's when you know it kind of, if it blends in, kind of you don't see the edges very well, then you know you got a good match to the value of the paint color. And so now here I am applying it, and like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm using the Liquin Impasto, and it is really nice stuff. I really like it, and I highly recommend you try it out. And what I'm doing here is applying the paint, and I'm trying to pick up a lot of paint at one time and apply it to get that textural element that I like to see in paintings. And I'm using a filbert brush. You can see how I'm just kind of laying the paint on. Cutting around the tree shapes a little bit to suggest leaves and that sort of thing. And should be getting pretty good sound now that I got a new headset mic to do the voiceovers. Should be pretty crystal clear. And I didn't mix too much of this gel into the paint. Depends on the size of the mixture. I believe that if you mix too much into the paint, it'll become more translucent, which you may want that effect if you're painting over a previous color and you want some of that to go through. And at the bottom, at the top of the roof of the barn there that I'm painting above, at the very bottom of that, I'll start adding in the Quinacridone Red, making a little bit of a pink that's the same value as the blue. Just a hint, not a whole lot. You'd see more of it towards the horizon behind the barn if we saw the horizon. And I don't do this value sketch type thing a lot. I've experimented a few times. I think it'd be important if you were really trying to get that realism, that form to the painting. Now what I'm doing here up close to show you is applying that thick paint. Really kind of getting a little bit of a thick layer. Not trying to be excessive here. And I really kind of liking how it's thickening up with that Impasto, Liquin Impasto in there. And I'm varying my brush strokes so that they don't have, they're not all the same. A few key thicker strokes here and there adds a nice element to the painting. Now the original value sketch wasn't just black paint and white paint. I did mix a little bit of warm tone in there. I believe it was burnt umber. And just to give a little bit of warmth to the value painting. So you can see it kind of looks a little pink, a little bit there. And that's okay. Try to use this brush as much as possible as I'm going through the sky here. Just wanted to show you a close-up detail. Just subtle bits of darker bluish tones, especially towards the top of the sky. keep picking up my paint. I pre-mixed a little bit of a pile. That way I don't have to keep going and mixing paint. So here I am completing it, dancing around the couple of the sky holes in the trees there. This is where I'm applying that little bit of pink I was telling you about before. Getting into the darks, just a hint. Now working on the barn. Now I used a flat brush to get that sort of clappered feel to the barn to suggest it. Putting in the shadows on the white, which is a really nice effect. Don't make them too dark. You want to have that airiness into the shadows. Now I'm applying the green to the grass. You can see my test color obviously was too dark. Working back in with some other paint. I can leave some of that original dark tone. I'll work it back and forth to suggest variations in the undulation of the ground. So here I'm working on the roof. Same, probably about a 3/8 to 1/2 inch flat nylon to give a suggestion of weathered roofing, because the colors are so close, values kind of reads correctly, so you have some difference in the tones of color. Here I am doing the tree, warm kind of green for a highlight. And then when I do the other tree, a little more blue. It's a little further back. Not necessarily just because of that. Different species of trees will have different tones of green too, so it's not just following the things in the background are cooler. Close up a little bit of the shadow of the grass, which I really like there. And now just a close up of applying a little more thicker paint to the grass and the sunlight to get some texture in the foreground. Just add some interest to look at. I'll vary the warmth and coolness. Because from far away, not too far, probably about, if you look at it, the painting's, I believe, 11 by 14. So viewing distance, if you think someone's standing about 4 feet in front of it, will give a read at that distance. And that's something I was just reading about in a book I'm reading about distance from a painting. There's a formulation they used back in the 1800s that a certain ratio to the diagonal of the painting is a proper viewing distance to view a painting. So when you're putting in detail, I thought that was interesting. Kind of makes sense. And then people can appreciate the abstract quality of it when they come up close. But there is a proper viewing distance. Now over here on the right where I'm applying paint, not paying attention, we all do this, we get caught up in other parts of painting. There's 2 doors on that opening of the barn there, so I will be taking out that green patch of grass there and widening the road, the driveway, because the other door would open and you would drive in equipment and such. So a little oversight on my part. Hey, it happens, we're not perfect. So, but that's something to be aware of when you are painting. Like I got done with the session, kind of studied it a bit, and went, "Wow, how did I miss that?" But we're human. More in the grass there, and it's gonna be fun building up that driveway, the kind of gravel and dirt and mud kind of there. Now putting in the value for the side of the house, I like how the coolness of that shadow in relation to that white door in sunlight. Not because that white door is necessarily in sunlight, but also that white door is weathered differently than the side of the house, because a lot of times people tend to take care of their properties, the houses, more than the barns. So little subtle things like that can really make or I wouldn't say make or break a painting, but can definitely improve a painting for realism, and not just realism in the form, but also in how things really are in life. people neglect certain parts of their, in this case, properties. And that barn's probably been there since 1850 or something, but the house has been renovated probably 3 times or something. So gives it some life. Now here I am doing the foundation. See a lot of red toned foundation. It's not, obviously a lot of them are brick, but sometimes like ours here, our house is covered over with some nice thick layers of paint, and they tend to favor kind of that reddish brick color. Just the way this particular house was, and I like adding a little bit of that red with the greens of the grass and trees. It could have been as also, you could change that to like a granite foundation if you wanted to, if it fit more with the scheme of your painting. So just because I took a photo of this originally and, from the roadside, doesn't mean I have to follow every little detail. We can edit to improve the painting, and that's what we should do as artists, try to see what really needs to be there. Okay, back at it here. Finishing up painting that foundation. And also what you can do once all this dries, of course, is to finesse a few little areas without maybe mixing up a whole batch of paint. Of course, you can glaze color over certain areas to send it back, or to increase coolness, warmness, that sort of thing. So might experiment. You can always experiment with that. What's nice when the paint's dry and you do that, and you don't like it, you can just wipe it off with a paper towel. Maybe just a very slight touch of Terps to then wipe again very cleanly. The paint will have to be completely dry. And just, I like how the shadow's coming out nice too inside the barn area. Mixing up a color of the side of the barn there and sunlight reflected into the window. Now when I'm painting this, I didn't actually refer to my original photo that I took. I think before in the previous video of me painting this in grayscale here, in value, it showed me working from the photo from the monitor, simulating like I'm in outdoors in plain air. In this case, I just started adding the color. It's sort of an experiment to say, if I didn't match the color perfectly, in my mind, it kind of doesn't matter if I have the value correct. Now, I think there's some truth in that, and then also you start to think, and I might have to do some experiments on this, but yeah, if you did like a fuchsia color and you have the value match, but the other colors, and you mix up the value, say more earthy tones, I think there might be a conflict. Have to play around more with that. I just have always had a knack of kind of matching things up. So now some other area right where I'm painting right now, right above there where the peak of the house corner as the roof comes down and touches that roof of the barn, that is another boo-boo that I didn't catch. That is what I call a tangent. And we try to keep watch over everything, and sometimes we miss. So I will be probably painting another addition to that barn in the back, like a different color roof or something. And I want to put a roof like this back there to suggest that there's another L part of the barn going off, and that'll take care of that tangent a little bit. Or I'll probably extend the barn roof. I haven't decided yet, but I definitely got to get rid of that. It's very irritating for me, so sorry about that.
Okay, this concludes part 1 of putting color over value sketch. And I want to thank everyone for joining me and subscribing to my channel. And if you're new to the channel, thanks for checking it out. Check out my other videos. And until next time, I'm going to just pan in here close up and show some details for the last few seconds. Thanks again for joining me. Bye.